Carl, where are you? How's the retracts down there?
Hey, Nick. They're okay.
Not bad.
No, they're not. Well, a little bit bent, but I think a pipe wrench will fix them right up.
But you know what? Let's talk about that later, Carl.
Okay.
First of all, let's get to this plane right here. Oh, Canada.
Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Yes.
This is what this plane's all about. Why did you pick to build a Canadian transfer plane this time?
I had a choice of doing North Central Airlines, which was a regional airline back in the 1950s and 60s, but you know, I've got a lot of friends in Canada, and this one just jumped right to the top of the list.
See that, folks? He called me a friend.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but its history goes all the way back to the 1940s when it was developed after World War II as a twin airliner with piston engines instead of turbines. It was before turboprops were invented, yeah. It came out as a Model 240, a 340, and a 440, each with a little bit bigger, more powerful engines, but it had quite a long history of airline usage. Actually, in the late 1950s and early 60s, Consolidated Vultee, which became Convair, bought Canadair.
So it has quite an eclectic history about this plane
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Now, what about building this? Was this a very difficult build?
No. The difficult thing was the nacelles and cowls were originally built for a piston engine plane, and the piston thrust line was right through the center of the wing. I designed it as a turboprop, and the turboprop actually put the propellers so close to the ground, and as you can see, if you home in on the propellers,
a little bit of damage.
Yeah, we ground them off. They're now very, very cheap four-bladed 2210s, which are now about 21 inches. It's a fairly easy to fly airplane in its flight character. Landing, again, because of the four-bladed props, you almost have a flat plate when you slow the engines down, and that leads to the propensity to stall.
Also, you added the little
Mountie
yes. Coming out of the door there. What was the reason for that?
Well, so many of my friends from Canada really need a sense of humor, and I'm trying to work on them to develop a sense of humor.
Besides me, folks.
And so we tried to resurrect Dudley Do-Right, the favored Canadian Mountie.
Yep, the cartoon.
Yes, and what we did was modified. If you look closely, you can actually see that he's missing a couple of front teeth because he was a hockey player before he became a Mountie.
A Mountie.
Yeah.
Well, Carl, you know what? What a labor of love. You always impress us every year, right? We look forward to seeing you on YouTube. I'd like to mention, folks, Carl, 200,000 views on YouTube for the actual bomber, which we didn't actually show fly the first time, but then we showed it in a later episode, right. And it's also going to be in the Chatham Air Show as well. Keep building great planes, Carl. I look forward to seeing you every year.
Thank you.
You know, he's going to adopt me next year,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, we're working on the paperwork.
Yeah.
I think it got lost someplace in the bureaucracy.
At the border. At the border. Well, that's it for this week's episode of RCTV. On next week's episode, you know what? We just left Norm's backyard. Now we're going to be heading to Paul's backyard for some rock crawling. And also, we're going to be heading to Burnaby Modelers. They build these beautiful boats out in Burnaby, BC. And a Canadian champion, Ty Testman, for some off-road racing. See you next week, folks.
RCTV, your radio-controlled authority, has been brought to you in part by Eliminator RC, your one-stop hobby shop. RC Pit Stop, bringing the best of RC to BC. And John's Hobbies, Toronto's local hobby store.